Good morning, all of you. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So बताओ मुझे हमने लास्ट टाइम कहाँ तक किया था परसों के लेक्चर में? व्हाट वाज द लास्ट पॉइंट वी
Types
डिस्कस्ड?
of RNA.
We're discussing about types of RNA. Yes, that is what we have to look at now. That is the next part of this chapter. So हमने बेसिकली आरएनए क्या है देखा था, अलग अलग टाइप के mRNA होता है, rRNA होता है, tRNA होता है. But we have to look at their structure briefly. डिटेल में हमें नहीं जाना, डिटेल हम 12th में पढ़ने वाले हैं. So I will just introduce you to RNA and its types. We know that RNA is ribonucleic acid. Why it is called as ribonucleic acid? What is the reason behind it?
Ribose sugar.
It has ribose sugar. राइबोज शुगर कौन सा शुगर है? पेंटोज है, हेक्सोज है?
Pentose.
पेंटोज. और डीऑक्सीराइबोज और राइबोज, हाँ, डीऑक्सीराइबोज राइबोज में फर्क कहाँ पे है?
2' कार्बन में
करेक्ट. राइबोज पे 2' कार्बन,
ऑक्सीजन नहीं है.
हाँ, डीऑक्सीराइबोज में ऑक्सीजन नहीं होता, राइबोज में होता है. सो आरएनए में राइबोज शुगर है. अब हमने देखा था 3 टाइप से आरएनए के. एक होता है mRNA, जिसको हमने मैसेंजर आरएनए भी कहा था. दूसरा है राइबोसोमल आरएनए, which is also known as rRNA. और तीसरा होता है ट्रांसफर आरएनए, which is also known as tRNA. So ये 3 टाइप से आरएनए के अलग अलग. Now what we'll do is we'll compare them side by side so that it becomes easier for you to remember also. So I will write here character and then accordingly what are the differences in these 3 types of RNA. पहला सबसे important character है इसका abundance. Abundance or you can say concentration in the cell. हमें एक सेल में कितना मिलेगा? If you isolate, ये छोटी छोटी चीजें होती है जो आप लिख सकते हो. Keep your class notebook in front of you. Hello. Yes, बोलो. कौन बोल रहा है? किसी को डाउट है क्या? Keep your class notebook in front of you. और मैं जो कुछ भी छोटी छोटी बातें बताऊंगा वो लिख लो, ये इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें होती है. सो जब भी मैं सेल से पूरा आरएनए आइसोलेट करता हूँ, कंप्लीट आरएनए, जो भी टाइप है, irrespective of the type, all RNA that is available in a cell is called as cellular RNA. सारा का सारा आरएनए आ जाएगा उसमें. There are many different types. For example, मैंने तो आपको 3 ही टाइप्स बताए हैं आरएनए के. mRNA है, rRNA है, tRNA है. स्मॉल साइटोप्लाज्मिक आरएनए है, स्मॉल न्यूक्लियर आरएनए है, स्मॉल न्यूक्लियोलर आरएनए है, माइक्रो आरएनए है, देन स्मॉल इंटरफेरिंग आरएनए है. देयर आर सेवरल टाइप्स ऑफ आरएनए. हमें 3 ही पढ़ने हैं और बाकी जो है वो भी इंपॉर्टेंट है, उसका भी बहुत सारा रोल है, लेकिन एब्सोल्युटली वो सिलेबस में नहीं है, हमें वो पढ़ना भी नहीं, देखना भी नहीं, उसके नाम भी पता होना जरूरी नहीं। तो टोटल सेल्यूलर आरएनए में मेरा mRNA कितना होगा, rRNA कितना होगा और tRNA कितना होगा, दैट इज व्हाट आई वांट टू फाइंड आउट। नाउ इन अ गिवन सेल्यूलर पूल, अगर मैं सारा का सारा सेल्यूलर आरएनए निकालता हूं तो ओनली अबाउट 3 to 5% इज माय mRNA। पूरे सेल्यूलर आरएनए का 3 to 5% इज सेल्यूलर आरएनए, सॉरी mRNA। पूरे सेल का आरएनए अगर मैंने निकाला तो 3 to 5% इज mRNA। दिस इज द आरएनए व्हिच इज लीस्ट अबंडेंट। सबसे कम ये होता है सेल में mRNA। But rRNA is present in ribosomes, about 80% of cellular RNA. 80% of cellular RNA is rRNA. So this is most abundant. सबसे ज्यादा ये हो rRNA। और tRNA जो है, it is remaining around 10 to 20% of total cellular RNA is your tRNA. Transfer RNA. So mRNA is least abundant, rRNA is most abundant. Remember this, सबसे abundant कौन सा है और सबसे कम abundant कौन सा है, least abundant। इसके ऊपर भी क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, most abundant RNA कौन सा है और least abundant RNA कौन सा है। Then another character that we can discuss is their length. So if I look at their length, how long will be these RNAs? Your mRNA is longest. It is around 300 to maybe 1000 or even more than that. But generally this ranges, the length ranges between 3000 to 1000 nucleotides. I won't say base pairs because RNA is single stranded and we have noted this. This is a single stranded structure. So base pairs nahi honge yahan. So I can say that mRNA is the longest type of RNA. rRNA is around 100 to 300 or 350 nucleotides. It is intermediate. पर सबसे छोटा होता है tRNA, 73 to 93 nucleotides. This is the shortest RNA that can be found in a cell. सबसे छोटा RNA ये है. Then these RNAs also differ with respect to their molecular weight. अगर मैं इनका molecular weight देखता हूँ तो भी मुझे difference मिलेगा. Molecular weight is measured in Daltons. एक कार्बन का जो मास है, that is 1 Dalton. Heaviest RNA is one which is going to be longest, and lightest RNA will be that which is going to be the smallest in length. So mRNA is the heaviest RNA. It can have molecular weight ranging up to 5 lakh Daltons, 500,000 kilodaltons. I'm sorry, 500 kilodaltons. 1000 Dalton is 1 kilodalton. This is heaviest RNA. rRNA, the molecular weight can range from 40,000 to 1 lakh Daltons. This is intermediate. And lightest is your tRNA, which is around 25,000 to 30,000 Daltons. This is lightest RNA. सबसे लाइट ये होगा tRNA. Then we can also differentiate in their structure. There are different structures of these RNAs. So if you look at their structure, we can find that mRNA is a very simple type of RNA. सिंपलेस्ट स्ट्रक्चर इसका मिलेगा आपको mRNA का. It is simple, single stranded, straight. There are no foldings, no folds in the molecule. So if I have to draw this RNA, it will be something like this, straight RNA. And we'll have nucleotide bases here which are going to be complementary to one of the DNA strands. And these bases are read in a group of 3 nucleotides at a time. What do we
Triplet
call
codon.
this? Yes. So we call them as triplet codons. This language cannot be understood by cell. Language of mRNA cannot be understood by cell. So we call this language as cryptogram. Crypto means hidden. Cryptogram, something that is difficult to understand. So language of triplet codons or language of only nucleotides is not understood by cell. Cell understands the language of proteins. So proteins are ultimately synthesized with the help of these triplet codons. Each triplet codon specifies, क्या specify करता है ये? एक triplet codon specifies what?
Methionine.
क्या?
Methionine.
तो methionine तो एक अमीनो एसिड हो गया. One triplet codon, it actually specifies one amino acid. एक triplet codon एक amino acid specify करेगा. Any triplet codon. First is always methionine, for example, and then there will be many different amino acids. Each triplet specifies one amino acid which are linked together to form a protein. Then in case of rRNA, this is also single stranded, but this is highly folded. It is folded upon itself, and wherever there are folds in the regions of folding, we can see complementary base pairs. Complementary base pairing can be seen. Means I will have RNA something like this. Something in this manner. And wherever there are folds, here I can see complementary base pairing in the regions of folding. So wherever there are folds, there are pairing between AUGC, adenine, uracil, guanine, cytosine. Such type of pairing will be seen in the folded regions. The regions which are not folded, they will show single stranded structure. So all this is otherwise is going to be single stranded structure. All these nucleotides are going to be in single stranded fashion. And this folding is specific. This is not haphazard folding. So folding is highly specific. Remember this. And tRNA, this is also single stranded. And it shows two patterns of folding. We are going to study the details of this folding and structure in 12th standard. The first type of folding, it is termed as hairpin model. Hairpin model. It looks something like this. Like a hairpin in this manner. Oh, just a minute. What happened? In this way. So it has one end 3 prime, the other end 5 prime, and it is folded like a hairpin. It appears like a hairpin. And we have anticodons located here. Now, what are anticodons? They are going to be complementary to codons on mRNA. So this tRNA comes and binds with codons here. So if the codon is AUG, the anticodon will be complementary to this. It will be UAC. So this UAC and AUG can base pair with each other. It comes and binds here. But tRNA is called as transfer RNA. So it carries an amino acid at its 3 prime end. So this is an amino acid that it carries at one of its end. This is the hairpin model. This exists inside a cell, but we cannot study the structure with the help of hairpin model. So to study the structure, another folding pattern is explained, and it looks something like this. See what I'm drawing? This is another pattern that is proposed. And it exists in this manner, in this way. So we have 3 stems here. Stem number 1, stem number 2, stem number 3, paired structures. Here you will find complementary base pairing, and here we do not find any base pairing. These are called as loops, where there is no base pairing. Wherever there are base pairing, it is stems, and these are the loops. So we find different stems and loops here, and one of the loop will carry an anticodon. Again, at one end is going to be 3 prime, other end is going to be 5 prime, and at 3 prime end, it will carry an amino acid. To study the detailed structure, this model is proposed, the second model. And this model, second model, it is termed as clover leaf model. I will write the name here. This model is termed as clover leaf model. This is for only understanding the structure. Inside the cell, RNA exists in the hairpin model. अब हमें इसके detailed structure नहीं देखने, but at least you must understand what are the ways or types in which it is present. Is that clear to you? Any
Yes,
doubt
yes.
here? If you have any doubt in this part, you can ask me. Let me erase this. Just a minute.
So the anticodon binds with the codon, the corresponding codon, right?
Yes, yes. Complementary codon से वो जाके bind हो जाएगा.
Okay.
And then that RNA will carry a correct amino acid. So tRNA पे amino acid attach होता है उसके anticodon के हिसाब से, और वो anticodon bind होता है particular codon को जाके, complementary codon को जाके. So correct amino acid आपके polypeptide में incorporate हो जाएगा. Now next character that we can describe for RNA. Just a minute. Yeah. So we can also discuss about their functions. What functions they are doing. The mRNA, as we know, it carries the message for protein synthesis. And that is why it is called as messenger RNA. It carries message from DNA to protein factories, that is ribosomes, in the form of triplet codons. That is why we call it as mRNA or messenger RNA. The ribosomal RNA, it is associated with ribosomes always. You will not find it anytime free in the cytoplasm. It is always associated with ribosomes, and it forms the structure of ribosome. The main function of this is it provides the site for binding of mRNA. So mRNA comes and binds with ribosome. Do you remember the diagram that I made on the whiteboard yesterday in the last lecture, where I showed RNA
Yes,
and
sir.
ribosomes
Yes,
attachment?
sir.
So this attachment of mRNA to ribosomes is possible with the help of this rRNA. There is a sequence in rRNA which is called a Shine-Dalgarno sequence, which helps in binding, but those details we'll discuss later. The main function is it provides binding site for mRNA and properly orients the RNA, orients the mRNA in proper direction, 5' to 3', so that all triplet codons on mRNA can be properly read. That is the function of your ribosomal RNA. And tRNA or transfer RNA, it is involved in the process of carrying an amino acid. It transports the required amino acid from cytoplasm to the ribosomes. That is the function of your tRNA. Carries the required amino acid from cytoplasm to ribosomes, so that they are linked together and made into a polypeptide or protein. So these are the functions. And lastly, we can also look at their alternate names, also known as mRNA is a messenger RNA. It is also known as template RNA because it provides template for protein synthesis. Template means raw material, some mold जिसके ऊपर आपका पॉलीपेप्टाइड सिंथेसिस होगा. सो ये एक टेम्पलेट प्रोवाइड करता है, पॉलीपेप्टाइड का सीक्वेंस प्रोवाइड करता है इन द फॉर्म ऑफ ट्रिपलेट. ये इंफॉर्मेशन कैरी करता है अमीनो एसिड की. Yes, this is also known as informational RNA. The another name of rRNA, it is always associated with ribosomes. It is not free or not solubilized in the cytoplasm. So this is also known as insoluble RNA. And this is most stable RNA due to its association with proteins in ribosomes. So it is also called as stable RNA. tRNA is very small in size. We saw that it is shortest, lightest, smallest tRNA. Means it can get solubilized in cytoplasm. It is known as soluble RNA or sRNA. S stands for soluble. And it is also known as adapter RNA because it binds to amino acids. Hence it is also known as adapter RNA. So you have to remember these important characteristics of RNA. these characteristics are important. Based on these characteristics, many questions are asked. So सारे क्वेश्चन जो आपको इसमें आएंगे आपके एमटी में या फिर इन योर फाइनल एग्जाम, दे विल कम बेस्ड ऑन these properties only. इसके बाहर एक भी क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा आरएनए के ऊपर. रिमेम्बर दिस.
सर,
हाँ बोलो.
डिड यू फाइंड द क्वेश्चन जिसकी आप बात कर रहे थे?
हाँ
मेजर टेस्ट की.
ये जस्ट अ मिनट, लेट मी फाइंड आउट. एक क्वेश्चन था एमटी में, मैं आपको क्वेश्चन अभी बताता हूँ. लेट मी फाइंड आउट. एमटी का पेपर आपके ग्रुप पे है ना? ग्रुप पे भेजा है आपको एमटी का पेपर?
यस सर.
हाँ सर.
Just a minute, let me find out. There was one question regarding RNA. And after we complete this chapter, we'll discuss all the questions in MT which are, related to your biomolecules. Just a minute. Trypsin, starch digestion, sphincter, molecular.
सर जूलॉजी ना?
हाँ जूलॉजी में है, एक क्वेश्चन है. I'm trying to find out. Enterokinase, sphincter of body, repeat correct order, polypeptides. Structure of protein fat, which is correct. Catabolic anabolic inhibition, IUP system, transition state, enzymes is wrong, correct. Breathing. I am not able to find it. I don't know कहाँ पे गया. मैं देखता हूँ एक बार और आपको बताता हूँ. मैं भेजूंगा एक क्वेश्चन, मुझे जैसे मिलता है मैं आपको ग्रुप पे भेजता हूँ. यहाँ पे तो मिल नहीं रहा मुझे. I'm not getting it. Just a minute. Let me quickly find out in some other paper if we have it. Even another paper. Papilli adenine. Oh. Enzyme, protein, lecithin, protein. Enzyme, glycosylates. Phosphate. Short degradation, match the columns. Oxyntic cells, trypsin, charge and opposite polarity. I am not getting it. मैं भेजता हूँ. मैंने कहीं तो ये क्वेश्चन देखा था, एमटी में नहीं है, लेकिन बहुत ही बढ़िया सा क्वेश्चन. You can send it later. I'm not getting it right now. कहाँ पे है देखना पड़ेगा. You can, don't worry, I will send it to you. So clear up to this point?
Yes,
Can we
sir.
move
Yes,
next?
sir.
Yes, sir. So now next point that we have to look at, next part from the chapter, is concept of metabolism. और इसी concept में we'll discuss the concept of something called as a living state. What is living state? We have already discussed the differentiating features or specific features of life as such.
सर न्यूक्लिक एसिड खत्म.
हाँ, न्यूक्लिक एसिड यहाँ पे खत्म हो जाता है आपका. We have done with nucleic acids. So we'll now go ahead with metabolism. न्यूक्लिक एसिड में इतना ही पढ़ना है आपको, डीएनए का स्ट्रक्चर और आरएनए के स्ट्रक्चर्स. बीडीएनए का स्ट्रक्चर इज मेन, so remember that. So here we'll discuss about metabolism and living state. We know or we have discussed about metabolism. Can you tell me the definition of metabolism?
Sum of all the chemical
Some of all
reactions
the living
in
chemical
the
reactions
body.
in our body.
Exactly. So all sum total of all biochemical reactions occurring inside a living system, all of them together are known as metabolism. So this is the definition of metabolism. So there are various reactions. For example, I can give some examples of such reactions. Number one, for example, removal of, say, carbon dioxide, CO2, from amino acid. To form, tell me the structure of amino acid. क्या बनाओ? यहाँ पे क्या बनाओ?
जरा
H,
H यहाँ पे लिखता हूँ. और
NH2,
नीचे R.
हाँ, नीचे R, यहाँ पे NH2. और क्या होता है amino acid?
OH.
CO,
CO.
carboxylic acid group. So this is an amino acid. So we can remove, we can remove carbon dioxide from this. So in some cellular reactions, CO2 is removed from the amino acid. We can call this reaction as decarboxylation, removal of carbon dioxide. Decarboxylation, removal of CO2. What will remain is this structure, and this is called as an amine. This is one reaction, just one example. Another example, for example, is hydrolysis of glycosidic bond in a disaccharide. Hydrolysis of glycosidic bond in a disaccharide. What I will get are two monosaccharides. Then even removal of amino group, that is NH2 group, from a nucleotide base, adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, etc. So deaminated nucleotides will be formed when we remove the nitrogenous base. So these are some of the reactions which are biochemical reactions occurring inside a cell. But we must remember that these reactions, they do not occur haphazardly. ये रिएक्शंस बहुत ही स्पेसिफिकली होते हैं, जब चाहिए तभी कोई स्पेसिफिक रिएक्शन होगा। सो अमाइनो ग्रुप है तो निकाल दो, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड है तो निकाल दो, ऐसे नहीं होता। बट one or the other type of reaction is always going on inside living organisms. So in a living system, we can say, let us say this is a living system. At time 0, एक living system है at a particular time, and I will have many different biomolecules here. So I'm showing different biomolecules, maybe amino acid, carbohydrates, then nucleotide bases, and many other types of amino acids are there. Different shape indicates different types of molecules, biomolecules. So any living system has some biomolecules at any given time. But if you observe the same cell after a few minutes or even after a few seconds, you will find that composition of this system has changed over a period of time. You may have varying components now present here. So it is not going to be same. You will have some different amino acids, different proteins, different carbohydrates being made here. So biomolecules are always changed. They are constantly being changed into some other biomolecules. They are being made from some other biomolecules. ये जो कुछ भी change है biomolecules में, biomolecules are constantly changed into other biomolecules, or they are constantly being formed from other biomolecules. So इनका synthesis होगा या फिर किसी दूसरे बायोमोलिक्यूल्स में इनका कन्वर्जन होगा। ये जो कुछ भी प्रोसेस है, this can be reversible as well. So they will be interconverted into each other, and this process is called as turnover of biomolecules. All living systems have turnover, and these biomolecules are maintained in this turnover with the help of all these biochemical reactions which occur inside a cell, जिसको हमने मेटाबॉलिज्म कहा। अब ये जो मेटाबॉलिज्म होता है, ये मेटाबॉलिज्म ऐसे ही नहीं होता, मतलब जैसे मैंने बताया हैफाजार्डली रैंडमली मेटाबॉलिज्म नहीं होता। मेटाबॉलिज्म इज अ वेरी वेल रेगुलेटेड प्रोसेस। फॉर एग्जांपल, if biomolecules are changed into other form from one biomolecule, or some biomolecules are broken down, some are formed, तो ये जो सारे pathways है, ये जो सारे reactions है, वो हमेशा linked होते हैं एक दूसरे से। Series of linked reactions are there, or in linked reactions में, if you can see here what I've shown, in these linked reactions you have many molecules which are formed in between, like triose sugars, pyruvic acid, acetic acid, oxaloacetic acid, mevalonate, malonate, etc. So there are many other components which are formed. Shikimate pathway, for example. So all these components which are intermediate products of metabolic reactions, इनको कहा जाता है metabolites. But remember, biomolecules are converted into each other in a series of linked reactions. Biomolecules are converted into other biomolecules. Through a series of reactions. ये जो series of reactions होते हैं, these series of reactions are termed as metabolic pathways. इनको metabolic pathways कहा जाता है. And during this metabolic pathways, as I have marked in red, there are intermediate products formed. So मुझे A को B में convert करना है. ये conversion direct नहीं होता. There are several intermediate products formed. So if I want to convert glucose into pyruvic acid, here in between these, there are 10 steps. I have shown only one here. There are 10 steps of conversion of glucose to pyruvic acid. Glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate, fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6-base phosphate. Then it forms phosphoglyceraldehyde, dihydroxyacetone phosphate, and so on. So in a slow and steady manner, with a constant rate, glucose is converted, for example, into pyruvic acid in a series of reactions. So it becomes a metabolic pathway. And during this metabolic pathway, several intermediate products are formed. These intermediate products of metabolic reactions, they are termed as the metabolites. In intermediate products को ही metabolites कहा गया है. They are termed as metabolites. And these metabolites are interchanged. They are interconverted. They are converted into one biomolecule. They are converted into another biomolecule. And this occurs through series of reactions. The metabolites are always in a state of flow. They are never constant. There is always a turnover of these metabolites. So this flow of metabolites always occurs through metabolic pathways. Flow of metabolites through metabolic pathways will always be seen inside a cell, and this occurs through a series of linked reactions, जिसको हमने metabolic pathway कहा है. But these metabolic pathways, they can assume various shapes. Say for example, glucose to pyruvate is 10-step straight reaction, something like this. फिर आपने काल्विन साइकिल सुना होगा. कभी सुना है काल्विन साइकिल के बारे में? C3 साइकिल और काल्विन साइकिल जो फोटोसिंथेसिस
Yes, sir.
सो अगर मैं एक एग्जांपल लेता हूँ पाथवे का, मेटाबॉलिक पाथवे का मैं एक एग्जांपल लेता हूँ. से फॉर एग्जांपल आई टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ a pathway called as glycolysis. It is the pathway of conversion of glucose, which is a 6-carbon molecule, through a series of reaction, 10 steps reactions. It is converted into pyruvic acid or pyruvate, which is a 3-carbon molecule. So 2 molecules of pyruvic acid are formed from 6-carbon glucose molecule. 1 molecule of glucose breaks down into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. This is a linear process or a linear reaction. Now many components in this reaction which are formed may be taken out. Excess of them may be taken out and may be utilized in some other biochemical pathways. For example, some of the components here can be taken out and can be used in other biochemical pathways. Say for example, in Calvin cycle or in Krebs cycle, that is your TCA cycle, tricarboxylic acid cycle. We'll study that later. Don't worry about these cycles and pathways. Calvin cycle is photosynthetic pathway. Krebs cycle is respiratory pathway. So here again, the same metabolite will flow through a series of reactions. Again, some of them may be taken out from this pathway, for example, and may be interconverted into some other products and can re-enter the pathway, original pathway, or it can re-enter into some other pathway where molecule A is being converted into molecule B, for example. So these pathways are not always linear or not always, you can say, cyclic. They can be linear, they can be circular, they can be crisscross reactions. So this series of linked reactions can assume various forms and various shapes. It can be a linear reaction like glycolysis. It can be circular cycles like Krebs cycle, Calvin cycle, or there can be many crisscross pathways which connect the two pathways. So Calvin cycle may be connected with glycolysis. Glycolysis is connected with Krebs cycle. And these pathways are connected with synthesis of fatty acids, synthesis of lipids, proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, etc. So all of them are interconnected. The metabolites constantly flow through this. And this flow, whatever flow is occurring here, the flow that I have shown here, this flow of components or this flow of the metabolites occurs with a definite rate and definite direction. For example, when glucose is converted during glycolysis, it is first converted into something called as glucose 6-phosphate. It is not possible to take it back. This reaction will not occur. In some places, they can be reversible, but in some places, they will not be reversible. Some biochemical reactions, some metabolic pathways have some reactions which are reversible, some of them are irreversible. This maintains a constant rate, definite rate and direction of this metabolite flow. So remember this, the metabolites flow through metabolic pathways with a constant definite rate and in a definite direction. Glucose is destined to form glucose 6-phosphate and ultimately it will be broken down into pyruvate. So this reaction is already determined and it will proceed with a predetermined direction for breaking down of glucose into pyruvic acid. So rate and direction of these pathways are specific, definite, and there is always a smooth flow. Now what do we mean by smooth flow? It is not like ग्लूकोज ने ब्रेकडाउन शुरू कर दिया, यहाँ पे आ गया और रुक गया, यहाँ पे अरेस्टेड, फिनिश, खत्म, ऐसे नहीं होता. It will continue to be broken down into pyruvic acid. अब समझो आपको pyruvic acid की जरूरत नहीं है सेल को, तो क्या होगा, जो भी इंटरमीडिएट प्रोडक्ट्स बनेंगे वो सारे के सारे दूसरे पाथवेज में लिए जाएंगे, सो दैट आपका फाइनल प्रोडक्ट बनेगा ही नहीं, बट रिएक्शंस विल प्रोसीड. द इंटरमीडिएट्स और मेटाबोलाइट्स may be channeled to some other pathways if we don't need the end product of a reaction. This is called a smooth flow. They are not jerky, they are not irregular, they are not random. There is a smooth flow of these metabolites through these pathways. ये पूरा जो concept है, flow of metabolites with definite rate, definite direction, smoothly through a pathway, it is called as dynamic state of body constituents. Dynamic state of body constituents. That is nothing but flow of metabolites through metabolic pathway in a definite rate and direction. Very much like your, your automobile traffic, which is given in NCERT. Like automobile traffic, you have a busy road, but on a busy road the traffic is smooth if everybody follows the traffic rules. The flow of traffic is smooth. We drive from left side of a road, all vehicles will go in one direction from left side, the others will come in other direction through the right side of the road. So there are certain rules, certain regulations by which traffic is maintained in a smooth manner. Similarly, due to specific rate and direction, the metabolites are also maintained in a smooth flow with a definite rate and direction through these metabolic pathways. इस particular rate को, flow को, smooth transport को कहा गया है dynamic state of body constituents. And it is important. This dynamic state of body constituents is important. Now, why this dynamic state of body constituents is important? Because during any reaction that is performed inside a cell, there is a starting material and there is an end product. Unless and until this end product is formed, we cannot use this end product in any other pathway. For example, pyruvic acid enters into this Krebs cycle. This is possible only if the pyruvic acid is formed. If it is not formed, Krebs cycle will not occur. Product of one reaction is a precursor of next reaction. Glucose 6-phosphate will be converted into fructose 6-phosphate only if glucose 6-phosphate is made. If glucose 6-phosphate is not made, you cannot have fructose 6-phosphate formed. Remember this. So it is always necessary that these reactions proceed in a proper direction, in a smooth manner, in a regulated manner. Do you understand the concept of metabolism, what I am trying to discuss here?
Yes, sir.
So a concept of metabolic pathways, concept of metabolites, and concept of dynamic state of body constituents. All these three is given in NCERT. I am not telling you anything outside NCERT. This is important. Now, when these reactions are done, many times, for example, see this diagram. In this diagram, I have shown some products which are end products of a reaction. Many times there are end products which are not required for survival of a cell. Not required for survival, growth, reproduction of a cell. Even if they are absent, cell can survive. They are byproducts of this entire process which has occurred here. So whatever reactions have occurred here, the byproducts of these reactions, they are present also inside the cell. And we call these byproducts as secondary metabolites. So what will you call these metabolites as? They are required for survival. Those which are marked with red.
metabolic pathways.
No. The metabolites which are not required for growth, development, reproduction of a cell or organism, not required for survival of the organism, we call them as secondary metabolites, which are end products of metabolism. So इनको हमने कहा secondary metabolites. Terpenes, steroids are also secondary metabolites. So all these metabolites which are required for survival, they are important. We call them as primary metabolites. And this metabolism is hence termed as primary metabolism, which is necessary for survival of a cell. So when this metabolism takes place, primary metabolism, it includes the interconversion, or we can say synthesis of what are termed as primary metabolites. And there is, we can say, an byproduct of this primary metabolism, we can say are secondary metabolites. So secondary metabolites are nothing but products, byproducts, waste products, non-required products of primary metabolism. उनको कहा जाता है secondary metabolites. अब जो प्राइमरी मेटाबोलाइट्स होते हैं, they are present in your primary metabolism. We call them as primary metabolites, like amino acids, carbohydrates, then proteins, nucleotides, macro and micro molecules जो हमने पढ़े, sugars, nucleic acids, amino acids, proteins, lipids, vitamins, ये सारे primary metabolites. And we have also discussed their roles, how they are important in our daily activities. कहाँ पे glycolipid है, कहाँ पे sphingolipid है, कहाँ पे proteins है, कहाँ पे amino acids है, उनका importance क्या है, sugar storage कौन से है, structural कौन से, polysaccharides. So all these primary metabolites, in short, they have, we can say, identifiable functions in many different physiological processes of a cell. First and second, they are necessary for survival, necessary for life of a cell. You can write many examples of such primary metabolites, as I told you. For example, amino acids, vitamins, nucleic acids, sugars, lipids, and so on. We can go on listing them one after the other. So many such secondary metabolites are primary metabolites are important for survival of a cell. लेकिन जब ये अमीनो एसिड का सिंथेसिस होता है या विटामिन्स का सिंथेसिस होता है, during this time many byproducts are found. These byproducts are not required for survival. They are not required for growth, not required for survival, not required for development, reproduction. सेल के लिए जरूरी नहीं. अब एनिमल क्या करता है, एनिमल में भी ऐसे बाय प्रोडक्ट्स बनते हैं प्राइमरी मेटाबोलाइट, प्राइमरी मेटाबॉलिज्म के. फॉर एग्जांपल यूरिया is a byproduct of amino acid metabolism in humans, but is it stored inside the body? Tell me.
No.
Yes.
No.
No, sir.
Is urea stored? It is not stored. Urea is excreted from the body. ये excrete हो जाता है in the form of urine. So all different kinds of animals have one or the other way, right from sponges, very primitive organisms, even amoeba, protozoans. They have a way to excrete the byproducts of primary metabolism. Even paramecium has contractile vacuoles, amoeba has contractile vacuoles through which excretion is achieved. But that is not the case in plants, in microbes, like their waste materials, because they will be stopped by the cell wall. These metabolites have very large size. You can see here. I have shown a couple of secondary metabolites here. They are so complex that they cannot be removed from a cell. If you provide a facility to a cell by which they can be removed, cell will readily remove them. But they cannot be removed. That is why plant has a mature plant cell has a central vacuole. What is stored there is waste product mainly of primary metabolism, and we call them as secondary metabolites. These secondary metabolites are not directly involved in normal survival of a cell, like normal growth, development, reproduction, इनमें इन बायो प्रोडक्ट्स का कोई भी रोल नहीं है. We call them as secondary metabolites. And remember, these secondary metabolites are found only in plants, fungi, and microbes, like your bacteria, microbial cells like bacteria. इनमें फॉर्म होते हैं. Can you give me any example of secondary metabolite in fungi? Any secondary metabolite in fungus which is not required for growth of fungi? Tell me. Okay, I will give you another question. The same question in other way. Now you will be able to answer it. Those products from the fungi which kill bacteria.
Penicillin.
Penicillin.
What is penicillin? Penicillin is just one
Antibiotic.
molecule.
Antibiotic.
Antibiotic. So antibiotics from fungi is the best example of secondary metabolite. It is not required for growth and survival of the fungus. It is not required for growth of fungi. Yes.
Is there anything called secondary metabolism?
Yes. The metabolism by which these secondary metabolites are formed is called as secondary metabolism.
आपने उधर से
ये जो
आरुखी
pathway है,
बनाया हुआ है.
कहाँ से? Primary metabolism के outcomes है ना ये. These are byproduct.
So what is secondary metabolism?
So यहाँ पे जो भी बने, हाँ, यहाँ पे जो कुछ भी बनेगा वो बाय प्रोडक्ट्स बनेंगे. तो आपका सेकेंडरी मेटाबॉलिज्म कहाँ पे शुरू होता है? समझो यहाँ पे मेलोनेट बना. मेलोनेट के बाद पॉलीकेटाइड्स, फैटी एसिड्स, और फिर फैटी एसिड्स का फ्लो इन द सेकेंडरी मेटाबॉलाइट्स. फॉर एग्जांपल दिस शिकीमेट पाथवे, मेवेलोनिक एसिड पाथवे, मेलोनेट पाथवे, these are the pathways of secondary metabolism. इससे कहीं ना कहीं आगे जाके सेकेंडरी मेटाबॉलिट्स बनने वाले. सो इन पाथवेज को हम सेकेंडरी मेटाबॉलिज्म कहते हैं एंड सेकेंडरी मेटाबॉलिक पाथवे कहते हैं.
Got it.
So it is not necessary that byproduct of primary metabolism will be stored as it is. If it is toxic, it will be converted by a series of reactions into non-toxic material, and then it will be stored inside the vacuum. So that path where primary metabolism ends and the byproduct is converted into storable compound, that part you will call it as secondary metabolism. समझ में आई बात?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
So plants में, fungi में, microbes में हमें secondary metabolites मिलते हैं. Antibiotics is just one example. Other than this, आपके टेक्स्ट बुक में एक बड़ा सा टेबल दिया है जो हमने शुरू में भी देखा था. Alkaloids, different types of pigments like carotenoids, then very complex compounds like terpenoids with sesquiterpene rings, then oils with fragrance like
Sesame
lemongrass oil, then eucalyptus oil.
oil.
These are essential oils. Then different types of toxins,
Rubrin,
heparin, correct?
heparin,
Different types of lectins, ricin, heparin.
friction,
Different types of lectins like concavalin A. Different types of drugs like vinblastine, vincristine, curcumin are examples of secondary metabolites. So I've shown all these secondary metabolites here. So you can see some secondary metabolites which I have mentioned here. See this diagram. Carotenoids जो कलर देते वेजिटेबल को, लेकिन ये सर्वाइवल के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. So some of the pigments are also classified.
anthocyanin,
as secondary metabolites. Yes. So pigments like carotenoids, and anthocyanins, they are secondary metabolites. They are not required for survival. Then there are several components. So मैंने यहाँ पे दोनों दिखा है, कैरोटिनॉइड्स और एंथोसायनिन, और कलर देखो कितना अलग है एंथोसायनिन का. ब्रोकोली में हमें एंथोसायनिन मिलता है, ये ब्रोकोली है. कॉलीफ्लावर के जैसा दिखता है, दिस इज ब्रोकोली. ये कलर एंथोसायनिन से है, कलर ऑफ द पेटल्स. This yellowish orange color is due to carotenoids. They are not required for survival of a organism, survival of that plant. Then there are examples like morphine and codeine. They are obtained from this plant. This is called as poppy plant. Opium is a scientific name. I should underline it. Opium. It's a scientific name. Its common name is poppy plant. Do you know खसखस?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
मालूम है? वो जो दिवाली में अनारसा बनता है ना, उसके
No,
ऊपर वो
sir.
Yes.
Anarsa.
दिवाली में अनारसा खाया है. जिनको खसखस मालूम नहीं, अनारसा खाया है कभी दिवाली में? हाँ, उसके ऊपर जो व्हाइट कलर का पाउडर लगता है उसको खसखस कहा जाता है. These are poppy seeds. So they are derived from poppy. लेकिन उसमें कुछ नहीं होता. लेकिन पॉपी प्लांट से, ओपियम से हमें कुछ सेकेंडरी मेटाबोलाइट्स मिलते हैं, लाइक मॉर्फिन एंड कोडीन. दे आर मेंशन्ड इन एनसीईआरटी टेक्स्ट बुक में. जो दिया है वही मैं यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ, अल्कलॉइड्स. और हमने अल्कलॉइड्स का डेफिनेशन क्या लिखा था? नाइट्रोजन कंटेनिंग सेकेंडरी मेटाबोलाइट्स. So morphine and codeine. Codeine, for example, is useful in cough. Morphine is a very well-known painkiller. It is used as a medicine, but it is also used as an abuse drug. Then there are several components like cinnamon, dalchini, then cloves, long, ginger, then some flowers, eucalyptus oil. They contain terpenoids and essential oils like lemongrass oil. I have shown it here, lemongrass. So these are also secondary metabolites. Terpenoids, best example of terpenoids.
Monoterpenoids, biterpenoids,
Monoterpenes and diterpenes.
diterpenoids.
And then there are essential oils also.
Eucalyptus oil,
Yes,
gingerly oil,
eucalyptus oil. Then we have lemongrass oil. These are some examples of essential oils.
gingerly oil,
Gingerly oil is not, it is not essential. Gingerly oil मतलब क्या होता है बताओ?
sesame oil,
Sesame oil is used for cooking in some states in India. They are used for cooking, तिल का तेल. लेकिन उसमें कुछ फ्रैग्रेंस नहीं होगा. फ्रैग्रेंस मिलेगा आपको यूकेलिप्टस ऑयल में, लेमन ग्रास ऑयल में. सो जिन ऑयल का एक खुशबू होती है, एक फ्रैग्रेंस होता है, इसेंस होता है, उनको इसेंशियल ऑयल्स कहा जाता है. Then there are several toxins also which are toxic to even human beings, which are secondary metabolites. See this. So this is another examples of secondary metabolites. Toxins. क्या क्या दिए एनसीईआरटी में toxins?
heparin, ricin,
Heparin and ricin. Heparin is obtained from this plant. It is called as rosary pea. कभी देखा है क्या ये प्लांट? गुंज कहते हैं उसको, गुंज. ऐसे रेड होगा और एक ब्लैक स्पॉट होता है इसके ऊपर. सो कहीं ना कहीं इस सीड के ऊपर हमें एक ब्लैक स्पॉट मिलेगा, समथिंग लाइक दिस. अब ये पीछे होगा इस सीड के, लेकिन ये होता है टिपिकल। इसको मराठी हिंदी में गुंज कहते हैं, and in common English language it is known as rosary pea. It is very toxic. The seeds are highly toxic, and they have a toxin called as ebrin. Ricinus communis, which I have mentioned here, that is
हाँ
your
सर, इसे कैस्टर बोलते हैं क्या? हाँ, कैस्टर ऑयल।
castor, जिससे कैस्टर ऑयल मिलता है। इसमें रिसिन होता है, which is also toxin, लेकिन वो सीड्स में नहीं होता, वो लीव्स में, फ्लावर्स में हमें मिलेगा। So I have shown here leaves and flowers also, जहाँ पे मिलता है। सीड से हमें कैस्टर ऑयल मिलेगा। That castor oil is not toxic, but यहाँ पे रिसिन करके एक टॉक्सिन होता है, which can be very toxic to mammals, even to cattle, sheep, etc. So these sheep and cattle, they never eat these plants. Rosary pea, they will never eat. Ricin or Ricinus communis, castor plant, they will never eat it, because by natural instinct they know that it is not palatable, it should not be consumed. Then there is a type of secondary metabolite which is termed as lectins. Lectin क्या होता है? How do you define a lectin? Lectin मतलब क्या? मैंने बताया था।
Carbohydrate binding
Yes.
protein.
Lectins are, yes, correct. Carbohydrate binding.
Carbohydrate binding.
ये प्रोटीन से कार्बोहाइड्रेट को जाके बाइंड करते हैं। So they are called as lectins. For example, concavalin A
Concavalin A.
is one type of lectin. And then there are several drugs also which are obtained from these plants. For example, see here, vinblastine and vincristine. And I have shown you here a vial with vinblastine sulfate, 10 mg. This is used as an injection. And they are obtained from this plant. देखा है क्या ये plant कभी?
Yes, sir.
क्या कहते हैं उसको कॉमन लैंग्वेज में? विंका रोजिया is its botanical name. कॉमन नेम क्या है इसका, इस प्लांट का? मराठी नेम मालूम है किसी को? मराठी, हिंदी?
No, sir.
In Marathi and Hindi, it is
No,
known as
sir.
सदाफुली. सदाफुली. इसमें हमेशा फ्लावर्स रहेंगे. And in English, it is known as periwinkle. सदाफुली और पेरीविंकल. सदाफुली is Marathi name, हिंदी नेम. पेरीविंकल is English name. इसका बोटेनिकल नेम है विंका रोजिया. इसी तरह से व्हाइट फ्लावर्स में मिलते हैं हमें, वो होता है विंका अल्बा. विंका रोजिया is red color, pinkish color. विंका अल्बा is white color. इन दोनों विंका स्पीशीज से हमें विनब्लास्टिन एंड विनक्रिस्टिन, ये सेकेंडरी मेटाबोलाइट्स मिलते हैं. एंड दे आर very useful drugs. They are used as medicines. Drugs means medicines. Vinblastine and vincristine obtained from Vinca rosea. Then even curcumin, which is obtained from haldi, turmeric. We have a pure compound here, curcumin, for research purposes. This curcumin is obtained from turmeric. The botanical name of turmeric is
Curcuma domestica.
Curcuma longa. Curcuma longa. The most common type of species that is consumed. So curcumin is obtained from this Curcuma longa, that is nothing but turmeric. And it is highly useful. Curcumin is the only compound of, or only drug which readily passes from blood to brain. Otherwise कोई भी drug blood से directly brain में नहीं जाता. It is very difficult, and that is why, you know, designing the drugs which will have effect on neurons, or the drugs which are effective in psychological treatment, they are very difficult to make. The reason is the chemicals do not easily pass from blood to brain, and there is a barrier of cells. There are some cells called as ependymal cells which are present in brain, and they are known to form what is called as blood brain barrier. They are present between the capillaries and neurons. They will not allow all substances to pass through to the neurons. But curcumin can easily go through this blood brain barrier. It is readily taken up, and hence this curcumin is being used to design the drugs. There is a patent on this curcumin by which you can dissolve it. It is not soluble in water. So if you drink curcumin dissolved in water or suspended in water, it will be of no use. It won't be taken up. But by using a special chemical technology, you can link it with some other molecules and dissolve it in oil. And this has been patented. And a scientist from Pune only has patented this technology of dissolving the curcumin. And it is being used extensively in industries to design the drugs which can pass blood brain barrier. कुरकुमिन जाता है, कुरकुमिन के साथ लगा दो आपका ड्रग का मॉलिक्यूल, तो कुरकुमिन जाएगा, उसके साथ साथ ये ड्रग का मॉलिक्यूल भी ब्लड ब्रेन बैरियर पास करके जाएगा. So several such drugs are also known to be secondary metabolites. And lastly, there are many polymers, polymeric substances, which are present in plants but not useful to the plants, like your rubber, different types of gums, even cellulose is a polymer of glucose. So you can see here how these rubber and gums are obtained. From a rubber plant, this latex is obtained, white colored substance. We call this as latex. This latex is obtained, and from this latex, then it is treated, purified, and chemically it is converted into rubber. Then there are several gums, gum that we eat. There is an edible gum also. So that gum is made into laddu, and it is highly nutritious and very tasty also. So these are secondary metabolites. They are not useful to the plants, not useful to the organism which has synthesized it, but are useful to other organisms. So remember this, these are different types of secondary metabolites which are obtained. Now, as I told you, a concept of metabolic pathways. Is it clear up to this point, secondary metabolites?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now see, this is the concept of metabolic pathways, where many pathways are linked with each other. What I have shown here is just a very simple representation of metabolic pathway. If you search for metabolic pathway on Google, you will find something like this. So what you get, or what is shown here, are many different chemical reactions occurring inside a cell. Just a fraction of chemical reactions. And see, all of them are interlinked. For example, lactose, galactose is formed here. Inositol is formed here. It can be used to make glucuronate. Glucuronate can be made into ribulose 5-phosphate. Ribulose 5-phosphate can be used in synthesis of histidine, an amino acid. It can be converted into tyrosine. Tyrosine can be used for synthesis of tryptophan. If you remember, we have seen this in amino acids. Tryptophan. Then they see here, this sucrose, cellulose is broken down into glucose. Glucose 1-phosphate, glucose 6-phosphate, fructose 6-phosphate, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Ultimately, we have pyruvate. So what I have shown here is glycolytic pathway. It is converted into acetyl coenzyme A and then enters in this pathway. This is your tricarboxylic acid cycle shown here. The products or intermediate metabolites in this pathway can also be used for synthesis of several other components as shown here. See what I am highlighting. Succinate can be made into hemoglobin, vitamin B12, cytochromes, chlorophyll. Then oxoglutarate can be used to make glutamic acid. It can be used to make proline and so on. This is the urea cycle where you have aspartic acid, arginine, urea being made. This is a waste product. Even the pathway where waste product is made, some of the intermediates can be used for synthesis of other compounds like uridine, cytidine, etc. So all these reactions are linked with each other. So I can define a metabolic pathway as, जैसे मैंने पहले भी लिखा था, series of linked multi-step chemical reactions are termed as metabolic pathways. And all metabolic pathways, sum total of all these metabolic reactions in our body is nothing but metabolism. Now, when these metabolic pathways are studied in any given cell, if you study the metabolic pathways, then we can broadly divide these metabolic pathways, as we studied in the first chapter, into two different reactions. Some pathways are breakdown pathways, some pathways are synthetic pathways. Those pathways which are synthetic pathways,
Anabolic.
yes, we call them as anabolic pathways. मतलब जहां पे किसी नए मॉलिक्यूल का सिंथेसिस होगा. और जो ब्रेकडाउन करता है पाथवे, किसी भी सब्सटेंस का अगर ब्रेकडाउन करेगा तो उसको कहा गया है कैटाबोलिक पाथवे. Yes. All reactions which are anabolic pathways, all reactions together, they form anabolism, and all breakdown reactions together are termed as catabolism. Anabolism plus catabolism is metabolism. So in metabolism, I can identify these two distinct type of reactions or distinct type of pathways, anabolic pathways and catabolic pathways. And both of them are quite different from each other. अगर anabolic pathway की बात करें हम, तो in anabolic pathway there is conversion of simple molecules. They are converted into complex molecules, chemically complex molecules like carbon dioxide and water. They are converted into sugar, glucose. A complex compound is made. So these pathways are biosynthetic pathways, or these are build-up pathways, or we can say these are, what another way, another term you can use? Constructive pathways. Biosynthetic build-up or constructive pathways. They are constructive processes where complex molecules are made from simple molecules. But for this process, there is always requirement of energy. Energy is required in the process. There is input of energy. अगर simple molecule को complex molecule करना है, तो energy required होगी. So these anabolic pathways, these pathways consume energy in one form or the other. The catabolic pathways are exactly opposite. In catabolic pathways, the complex molecules which are formed in your anabolic process, these complex molecules are broken down into simple molecules. they are converted into simple molecules. It is broken down. They are hydrolyzed, destroyed, broken down, degraded. During this process, whatever energy was utilized for its construction, this energy is released. If this energy is enough, the organism or a cell will convert this energy for storage. कौन से form में store होती है energy living cell में?
ATP.
ATP.
In the form of ATP. Correct.
ATP.
Correct. So I will have ADP, adenosine diphosphate, to which H3PO4 or inorganic phosphate is attached, and ATP is made. And this ATP is used for other biochemical reactions wherever energy is required. In other words, I can say that catabolic process, it is nothing but a breakdown process. It is not build up. It is breakdown, or we can say it is destructive process, not constructive process. And it will not consume energy, rather it releases energy. There is release of energy during catabolic pathways. And there are certain examples of this also which are given in NCERT. So remember these examples which are given. Examples of anabolic pathways and examples of catabolic pathways. Can you see this color clearly? Examples जो मैं लिख रहा हूँ ये.
Yes, sir.
So,
So some of the examples of anabolic pathways is where a very simple molecule like acetic acid is converted into a very complex molecule like cholesterol. Conversion of acetic acid into cholesterol is anabolic process. Then even simple amino acids are linked together and converted into proteins or polypeptides. It is also anabolic process, build-up process. The process of photosynthesis, where carbon dioxide and water are converted into sugars. This process is called as photosynthesis. This is also build-up process, anabolic process. And similarly, we have examples for catabolic process also. What is exactly opposite of photosynthesis?
Respiration.
Sugars are converted into carbon dioxide and water. Respiration. Then, for example, breakdown of glucose in our muscles during strenuous exercise. Lactic acid is formed in the muscles, which leads to muscle ache. This is also a breakdown process. Glucose to lactic acid. It is first converted into pyruvic acid through glycolysis and then into lactic acid inside the muscles. So these are some examples of anabolic and catabolic pathways. And see what I have shown here. The anabolic pathways require input of energy. Catabolic pathways will lead to release of energy. In anabolic pathways, simple molecules are converted into complex molecules, something like this, with the help of energy. But during catabolism, this molecule may be broken down and the energy that was stored in these bonds, covalent bonds, is released and may be utilized for synthesis of ATP. So both of these anabolic and catabolic processes must go hand in hand. They must be in a balanced state. अगर यहाँ पे imbalance हो जाए, then it can lead to several metabolic disorders. So this catabolism and anabolism should go hand in hand. अब catabolism में energy release तो होगी. अब ये जो energy release होती है, the energy which is released through catabolism, ये store होती है chemical bonds में. And whenever required, this energy which is stored in chemical bonds is used for other processes like biosynthetic processes, कॉन्सेंट्रेशन बढ़ाना है साइटोप्लाज्म का, ऑस्मोटिक कॉन्सेंट्रेशन बढ़ाना है तो ऑस्मोटिक प्रोसेसेस में, कुछ काम करना है सेल को, मूवमेंट करना है, लोकोमोशन करना है, मसल को कॉन्ट्रैक्शन करना है, मैकेनिकल वर्क में, this energy is utilized. So remember, these catabolic processes will lead to release of energy, and the released energy is stored in chemical bonds. We can call this as bond energy. And this bond energy is used or utilized whenever required, as I told you, for any other chemical build-up process, biosynthetic process, to maintain osmotic concentration of a cell, to perform work, mechanical process, etc. And this energy which is stored in the chemical bonds, ये कौन से कंपाउंड में स्टोर होती है? एनर्जी करेंसी ऑफ अ सेल, दैट इज योर
ATP.
एटीपी का लॉन्ग फॉर्म बताओ.
Adenosine triphosphate.
यस, एडेनोसिन ट्राइफॉस्फेट. अब अगर मुझे इसका स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है एडेनोसिन ट्राइफॉस्फेट का, तो बताओ कैसे बनाओ एडेनोसिन ट्राइफॉस्फेट का स्ट्रक्चर. क्या आएगा इसमें, कौन सा शुगर आएगा? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल राइबोज या डीऑक्सीराइबोज शुगर होगा, या कोई भी नहीं होगा? शुगर से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है.
राइबोज.
राइबोज एडिनोसिन है, ये डीऑक्सी एडिनोसिन नहीं है, एडिनोसिन है. डीऑक्सी एडिनोसिन में हमें डीऑक्सीराइबोज शुगर मिलेगा, एडिनोसिन में हमें राइबोज शुगर मिलता है. हाँ, सो यहाँ पे पेंटोज शुगर इज इन्वॉल्व्ड इन द प्रोसेस, एंड दिस पेंटोज शुगर इज नथिंग बट एडिनोसिन शुगर. तो अगर मुझे स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है एटीपी का, तो इट विल लुक समथिंग लाइक दिस. सी हियर, मेरा पेंटोज शुगर हुआ. This is 1 prime carbon, 2 prime carbon, 3 prime carbon, 4 prime carbon, and I know that 5 prime carbon is located here with its CH2OH. इस 1 prime carbon से मेरा एक नाइट्रोजनस बेस अटैच्ड होगा, और आपने मुझे बताया यहाँ पे एडेनिन होगा. तो कैसे बनाओ एडेनिन का स्ट्रक्चर? डबल रिंग होगा या सिंगल रिंग होगा एडेनिन?
Double ring.
डबल रिंग, क्योंकि एडेनिन गुआनिन आर प्यूराइन्स,
Purines.
and purines have double ring structure. So my adenine will appear something in this manner. ये 9th नाइट्रोजन दिखाया मैंने, और ये है मेरा दूसरा रिंग. और ये जो बॉन्ड होता है उसको हमने कहा था ग्लाइकोसिडिक बॉन्ड. और इस CH2 के साथ I will have 3 phosphates attached here on this side. 3 phosphate molecules, O, P, double bond O, OH कहो या O minus कहो, doesn't matter. Another phosphate molecule, P, O minus, double bond O, third phosphate with its O, P, O minus, double bond O, and this. ये मेरा थर्ड फॉस्फेट है. अब मैं ये थर्ड फॉस्फेट ऐसा क्यों बनाया? O माइनस. ये जो बॉन्ड होता है यहाँ पे, द बॉन्ड दैट इज प्रेजेंट बिटवीन सेकंड एंड थर्ड फॉस्फेट, इस बॉन्ड को हम इस तरह से दिखाते हैं. and this sign indicates that this is an high energy bond. इस बॉन्ड को हम कहते हैं हाई एनर्जी बॉन्ड. सबसे ज्यादा एनर्जी स्टोर्ड होगी बिटवीन सेकंड एंड थर्ड फॉस्फेट. इनके बीच में जो बॉन्ड है वो हाई एनर्जी बॉन्ड, सेकंड थर्ड फॉस्फेट के बीच में. Whenever required, this high energy bond is broken down. ये जो स्ट्रक्चर मैंने बनाया है, इस स्ट्रक्चर को कहा गया एडेनोसिन, क्योंकि एडेनिन है, राइबोज शुगर है, इसलिए एडेनोसिन. OH OH 2 प्राइम पे भी OH है, मतलब दिस इज राइबोज शुगर. एंड 3 फॉस्फेट्स, इसलिए ट्राइफॉस्फेट. अगर मैं सिर्फ एडेनोसिन कहता हूँ, सपोज दिस पार्ट फॉस्फेट के 3 ग्रुप्स नहीं है, तो इसको हम क्या कहेंगे? राइबोज शुगर, पेंटोज शुगर एंड अ न्यूक्लियोटाइड बेस, नाइट्रोजनस बेस, नॉट न्यूक्लियोटाइड, नाइट्रोजनस बेस एंड अ पेंटोज शुगर. इनको क्या कहा जाता है?
न्यूक्लियोसाइड.
न्यूक्लियोसाइड. एंड दिस न्यूक्लियोसाइड जब इसमें फॉस्फोरिलेशन होगा, फॉस्फोरिक एसिड आया होगा, तो न्यूक्लिक एसिड बनता है. सो एडिनोसिन न्यूक्लियोटाइड बनता है. एडिनोसिन इज अ न्यूक्लियोसाइड, और उसमें जब हम 3 फॉस्फेट ऐड कर देते हैं तो ये बनता है एडिनोसिन ट्राइफॉस्फेट. दिस इज एन एटीपी मॉलिक्यूल एंड दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एनर्जी करेंसी इन लिविंग सिस्टम. बॉन्ड एनर्जी is stored here, high energy bond, and that is your bond energy. So this ATP, due to this reason, ATP, since it stores the energy released through catabolism, it is termed as energy currency of cell, and it is the bond between second and third phosphate. It is your high energy bond. So जो भी bond energy है वो यहाँ पे stored second third bond. यहाँ पे भी bond energy होती है फर्स्ट और सेकंड के बीच के बॉन्ड में यहाँ पे, लेकिन ये एनर्जी रिलेटिवली कम है. हियर इट इज मोर. सेकंड थर्ड के बीच में जो बॉन्ड है वहां पे ज्यादा एनर्जी स्टोर होती है एज कंपेयर टू द बॉन्ड बिटवीन फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड फॉस्फेट. सो बोथ ऑफ देम आर हाई एनर्जी बॉन्ड्स, नो डाउट, बट जनरली this bond is broken down and ATP is converted into ADP, adenosine diphosphate. इस adenosine diphosphate में तीसरा फॉस्फेट नहीं होगा, हाई एनर्जी बॉन्ड पे ब्रेक हो जाएगा. You will have adenosine diphosphate with 2 phosphate groups. और जब ये इनऑर्गेनिक फॉस्फेट ऐड होता है तो उसको कहा जाता है एडिनोसिन ट्राइफॉस्फेट. सो दिस इज द एनर्जी करेंसी ऑफ द सेल. क्लियर यहाँ तक?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
फाइन. नाउ व्हाट इज लिविंग स्टेट? अब मेटाबॉलिज्म तो हो गया, हमने देखा था फर्स्ट चैप्टर में कि मेटाबॉलिज्म
Characteristic of living organism.
विद
Cellular organization.
ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. मेटाबॉलिक रिएक्शंस में टेस्ट ट्यूब में भी कर सकता हूँ. सेल्युलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, देन आई विल गेट लाइफ. सो मेटाबॉलिज्म होना चाहिए, मेटाबोलाइट्स होने चाहिए और सेल्युलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन होना चाहिए. किसी भी ऑर्गेनिज्म में अगर हम देखें, लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म में, तो ये अलग अलग टाइप के मेटाबोलाइट्स जो है, these metabolites are present in different concentrations. हर एक मेटाबोलाइट का अपना खुद का एक कॉन्सेंट्रेशन होता है, different concentrations, and they are specific or precise fixed concentrations. हर एक मेटाबोलाइट का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन अलग होगा डिपेंडिंग अपॉन इट्स रिक्वायरमेंट इनसाइड अ सेल. फॉर एग्जांपल, ग्लूकोज की बात हम करें, ग्लूकोज इन ब्लड, ब्लड में ग्लूकोज कितना है? तो नॉर्मल हेल्दी पर्सन में ग्लूकोज इन द ब्लड इज अराउंड 4.2 to 6.1 मिलीमोलर्स पर लीटर ऑफ ब्लड. मिलीमोलर्स पर लीटर. दिस इज वेरी हाई अमाउंट ऑफ ग्लूकोज. नॉर्मल हेल्दी पर्सन में इतना मिलता. इन अदर वर्ड्स इट इज 126 mg per deciliter इन फास्टिंग स्टेट. मतलब 8 घंटे तक कुछ नहीं खाया, सुबह सुबह शुगर की, तो ये 126 या उससे कम होनी चाहिए. खाने के बाद it is, I'm sorry, deciliter, 200 mg per deciliter, that is 100 ml. It is after taking food, that is called as postprandial. ये नॉर्मल
sugar है?
कॉन्सेंट्रेशन. हाँ, शुगर का, ब्लड ग्लूकोज का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है ये. फास्टिंग ब्लड ग्लूकोज
डायबिटीज में चेक करते हो?
हाँ, डायबिटीज में बढ़ जाएगा. डायबिटीज में यही करते हैं, फास्टिंग कितना है और पोस्टप्रांडियल कितना है. अगर फास्टिंग आपको 126 से ज्यादा मिलता है तो पर्सन इज डायबिटिक. बिटवीन 100 to 126 है तो इस पर्सन को कहा जाता है प्री डायबिटिक. लेस देन 100 है तो वेरी गुड हेल्थ. 100 to 126 द पर्सन इज ऑन द पाथ ऑफ डायबिटीज. इसको कहा जाता है प्री डायबिटीज.
150 नॉर्मल है ना डायबिटीज?
क्या
150 नॉर्मल है ना डायबिटीज के लिए?
नहीं, 126 हेल्दी पर्सन के लिए. दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव शोन हियर is for an healthy adult. Any variation here is a disorder. Anything more than 126 is diabetic. Fasting 126 से ज्यादा है तो पर्सन डायबिटिक है. खाना खाने के बाद 200 mg से ज्यादा है तो पर्सन डायबिटिक है. 2 घंटे के बाद किया जाता है ये ग्लूकोज, खाना खाने के बाद. बिटवीन 1 minute 1 hour 45 minutes 1 hour 45 minutes to 2 hour, इसके बीच में शुगर किया जाता है. ये 200 से अगर ज्यादा है खाना खाने के बाद या 8 घंटे के फास्ट के बाद अर्ली मॉर्निंग शुगर 126 से ज्यादा है, देन द पर्सन इज डायबिटिक. Audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was disconnected. Just a minute. So समझ में आया मैंने क्या बताया? हेल्दी पर्सन में सुबह खाना खाने से पहले फास्टिंग में चाय भी नहीं लेनी है, तब शुगर इतना होना चाहिए, इतना या इससे कम. खाना खाने के बाद 2 घंटे के बाद 200 mg या उससे कम. अगर इससे ज्यादा है देन अ पर्सन इज डायबिटिक.
एंड जिसका 100 से 126 से उसको
प्री डायबिटिक कहा जाता है. उस पर्सन को, मतलब द पर्सन इज ऑन द पाथ ऑफ डायबिटीज. मतलब उसको आज नहीं तो कल डायबिटीज हो सकता है. लेकिन एक सोचने वाली बात यह है कि अगर पर्सन प्री डायबिटिक है तो द पर्सन कैन प्रिवेंट द प्रोग्रेशन टू डायबिटीज. अगर इस पर्सन ने डाइट कंट्रोल किया, एक्सरसाइज किया, तो इस पर्सन का शुगर फिर से नॉर्मल लेवल तक आ सकता है. द पर्सन कैन गेट बैक टू नॉर्मल ग्लूकोज मेटाबॉलिज्म. लेकिन अगर ध्यान नहीं दिया तो अल्टीमेटली
अगर 126 के अबव है तो डायबिटीज है,
then reverse is not possible. Once diabetes is there, it cannot be cured. आई बात समझ में?
यस सर.
और दूसरा एग्जाम्पल है, आफ्टर दिस विल स्टॉप. हॉर्मोन्स, कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ हॉर्मोन्स. अब शुगर का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन मैंने लिखा है मिलीमोलर्स पर लीटर, मिलीग्राम पर डेसीलीटर. अगर हम हार्मोन्स देखें अलग अलग, एस्ट्रोजन, प्रोजेस्टेरॉन, टेस्टोस्टेरॉन, ग्रोथ हार्मोन, थायराइड स्टिमुलेटिंग हार्मोन, ल्यूटिनाइजिंग हार्मोन, ऑक्सीटोसिन, एंटीडायूरेटिक हार्मोन, वैसोप्रेसिन, प्रोलैक्टिन, I can list them, but all of these hormones are required in very, very small quantities and they're present in nanograms, even in ml of blood. मैं यहाँ पे डेसीलीटर मतलब 100 ml की बात कर रहा हूँ. 100 ml में 200 mg, मुझे ml में नैनोग्राम मिलता. मुझे यहाँ पे 1 ml में फिर भी 2 mg मिलेगा या 1.2 mg मिलेगा. in 1 ml. Here it is in nanograms, 10 raised to minus 9 of grams. So hormones are required in very minute or very small concentrations, very small quantities they are required. Otherwise, glucose is required in large quantity. लेकिन इन हर एक पर्टिकुलर मेटाबोलाइट का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन फिक्स रहेगा बॉडी में. ग्लूकोज इससे आगे नहीं जाता हेल्दी पर्सन में. हॉर्मोन्स नैनोग्राम में रहते हैं. हेल्दी पर्सन के लिए बात चलती है. बोथ ऑफ देम आर फॉर हेल्दी एडल्ट. Any variation from this is a disorder, a disease, say for example. अब और लिविंग स्टेट में क्या है, एक्चुअली लिविंग स्टेट है क्या, इसके बारे में मैं आपको और कल बताऊंगा. इन द नेक्स्ट लेक्चर विल सी दैट लिविंग स्टेट इज अ नॉन इक्विलिब्रियम स्टेडी स्टेट. अब इक्विलिब्रियम क्या है, नॉन इक्विलिब्रियम क्या है, ओपन सिस्टम क्या है, क्लोज्ड सिस्टम क्या है, आपने फिजिक्स में पढ़ा होगा, है ना, राइट?
Yes, sir.
सो एक बार जस्ट गो थ्रू करना उससे. ओपन सिस्टम क्या है, क्लोज सिस्टम क्या है, वर्क कब होता है, इक्विलिब्रियम क्या होता है. जस्ट गो थ्रू इट वंस so that you can get the point tomorrow quickly. Tomorrow
Okay,
we'll see that, and then we'll go to the last part of this topic, that is enzymes, and then we'll start with digestion. So let us stop here for today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all of you. और पढ़ाई करना, टाइम पास मत करो, ऑनलाइन है तो.
Yes, sir.